This is Athletes as Educators with former pro basketball player, championship winning coach, and author Angela R. Lewis. Angie Lewis interviews current and former athletes who are passionate about sharing the lessons they've learned and the experiences that have shaped their lives. A resource for parents, a guide for student athletes, a source for current and former athletes, keys to transition off the court. Welcome to the Athletes as Educators podcast with Angela R. Lewis.
Welcome to this episode of Athletes as Educators. I'm your host, Angie Lewis. On our podcast today, we have Marisa Gonzalez from Puebla, Mexico. Marisa played soccer at Southwest Minnesota State University. She is now the women's program director at Noraya Football Club. She also was a part of the organizing committee for the Pan American Games and loves youth, loves helping young women, and has a global experience that she's excited to share with us. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. I'm just really excited because we connected through the Women's Athlete Business Network that Ernst & Young sponsors.
Yep.
And there are so many women doing exciting things around sport. Will you talk a little bit about how you started playing soccer and how your love for the game developed into playing at the university level?
Okay, great. Yeah, I started young. I was around 7, 8 years old. Well, my father is a coach. He used to play locally soccer. He still plays. He was actually pretty good. He decided not to go to pro because he wanted to go to the university. So he's, they joke around that I will get my diapers changed while he was playing soccer. So obviously I was going to play, or I was going to be involved with soccer. Never thought at this level. Started playing, like many girls, I started playing with boys. Mm-hmm. It wasn't bad, actually. It was fun. I guess you have to have certain types of personality to do that, because I never cared. Obviously, I was a tomboy, so I was fine with it. By 12, I started playing with the girls, and we started getting pretty good. So by 14, I was doing pre-national team. At this time, the national team did not have under 17, 15, 13. It was just the national team. Mm-hmm. So to me, it was just, didn't want to pursue that. It was too much of a gap age difference between us. It was just not cool. They were 30, 35, I was 14. So I thought, let's just do college. 1998, I go to USA Minnesota, played with my team, we did well. And that's when I decided, I want to play college. This is what I want to do. So I had to be 15 to 18, I just did everything I could to play soccer in the US, which was a lot harder then than it is now. Because I lived in Mexico. You didn't have YouTube or Skype or anything. So it was like, how am I going to get them to see me? I'm so far away. So we worked together. I worked with my parents and just did a lot of research.
So you reached out to different coaches. How did that happen? I'm sure there's a number of young women who want to play and who are interested in playing abroad, just like you did, playing in a different country. How did you guys make that happen?
Well, I started researching what I needed to do. Internet was pretty not what it is today, because it wasn't that long ago, but it feels like it technology-wise. I started going into websites. Mm-hmm. I started going into colleges' websites. I started learning about NCAA, how it worked. And I just started sending a lot of emails. Mm-hmm. A lot of emails. I did my resume and just started reaching out. I was like, I'm a soccer player from Mexico. What can I do? I want to go there. I'm interested in doing it. What can I do? How should I do it? Let me know. Because there was not a lot of information then. So that's what I did. Send a lot of emails and just hope that someone will answer.
So you were relentless. You just went after it. You did.
Yeah, I just went up for it. And I had no idea what I was doing, I'll be honest. No idea.
That's good, though. Young women need to know that. Sometimes you just try. And things end up working out in ways that you couldn't have planned or imagined.
Exactly. And just I had to do my video and send it out. And this is funny because there was no YouTube, so you had to record it and send the tape.
Right. The VHS.
And I was like, okay, I cannot send 150 tapes because I don't have the money for it. Because I would have to FedEx internationally each one of them. Yeah. So I was like, I was like, what should I do? So you start choosing. Okay, this is okay. They've talked to me a little bit more. This coach is not that interested, so you will just discard that coach or that university because you couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yep, that makes so much sense, though. You have to figure out a way to come up with a plan that allowed you to still get your goal accomplished. I love it, and I think it's a great lesson for the young women to hear. Now, when you got to the university, how did you decide what you were going to major in and why?
I've been always a citizen of the world. I have friends all over, so I knew I had to be international something. Plus, I'm an international student in the US. I have language stuff going on. So I already spoke English, not as well, but I already spoke it. And at first, I was like, international relations. And of course, you imagine you're going to be this ambassador. Why not? My first year, I realized I'm not that political. I'm not that good at doing politics. I'm very direct. And it doesn't work in politics. So I thought, business. It is. You have to be able to speak to people differently. And I wasn't. I'm very direct, and I like things done fast. So I was like, it's not my right path. So my sophomore year, I transferred colleges, and I switched majors. And I went to international business, which was great. It was right for me. And a lot of times, I'm doing a lot of coaching now, and a lot of times I tell people that it's okay to switch majors. It's okay if you're not ready or if you made a mistake. Because, the thing is, you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. So just be certain that it's the right thing for you. And if it isn't, you didn't waste a year studying this or that. You learned something else.
Absolutely.
So that's how I did it.
Now, you mentioned also that you transferred schools. Why did you transfer?
I transferred, my idea for transferring was completely sports. I was not happy with the team. I was not happy with the coach. College was fine. I was happy in the school. But just the coach was not giving me what I needed. We had a small team. I had to play injured. I started having bad injuries, which I still kind of carry. Now, I had Achilles tendonitis in both ankles. Got to the point when I couldn't walk, and I was not treated. I was just going to the trainer, but they were saying I probably wanted to get off conditioning. I was just getting ice. And by the time I came home in December, I went to my doctor, and he said, "Oh, you were a week away from surgery in both ankles." So I realized, this is not right. I was suffering because I was injured. They weren't listening, and I was not enjoying playing soccer at the time. I was mad. I was frustrated. I was pissed at everyone.
Right.
Because I wasn't happy. I was injured. I was in pain. And then I realized, he's not paying attention how I do academically. They don't know what my classes are. They have no idea what's going on in my life. So I thought, I'm going to transfer, and I'm going to look for someone or a team that's more, just more what I wanted,
How did
what?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to ask, how did you decide what school to transfer to?
Because I was an international student when all this happened. I'm injured. I'm not getting treated. I'm sure I was even depressed at one point. And you're by yourself because your parents are, hours away, miles away. You have no idea what to do. So I thought, I'm going to transfer to either Minnesota or California.
Okay.
Why? Because California, I have family there.
Okay.
And Minnesota, much have family there because I went and played USA Cup in '98.
Ah,
I kept in touch with this family. They have become pretty much my family now too.
okay.
And I went back to their house every year. So I thought, if something like this happened, I have someone at an hour or two
Mm-hmm.
away that can help me out. That can be, they're just there for me and say, you know what, this is not going on, or this is not well.
Yeah.
So I looked at those places and just, again, started emailing coaches. After I got my release from that university, I just started talking to coaches, and I was lucky enough to talk to the one I had during college.
Okay. That makes sense. So you just went after it again.
That,
and ended up at another school which you enjoyed, and you were able to get your major there and have a much better experience.
Yeah, exactly. It was a great experience. Great team, great coach. It was just a lot of fun.
What are some of your greatest accomplishments or memories as an athlete?
Well, college would have to be, to me, college was the whole experience because I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was hard. After that injury, my sophomore year, I was still injured.
Wow.
And we worked at getting me back in shape. And I didn't get that much playing time, so it was a little frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But the team was good, and the team was fun. So the whole experience there was fun, even if you weren't playing that much.
Yeah.
Just because the team got along.
Mm-hmm.
And to me was probably just we did conference finals of the conference tournament, which was a lot of fun. And high school probably was, we made it to state team and regionals, playing the pre-national team, or I got to play against the national team 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
With my club team. So it was weird because you were playing to this, if someone plays soccer, Maribel Dominguez has been the Mia Hamm in Mexico.
Okay.
So I got to play against her 4 or 5 times. And I had to mark her. I remember one time she was running and running, and I just grabbed her and I was, please stop. You have to stop running. Like, I can't do it anymore. And she was just laugh. I was like, you're too good.
That's funny.
So probably that, playing national team or against them, regionals, and to me was the whole college experience.
Mm-hmm.
It was just fun.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a really amazing experience once you made that transition and found a place that worked best for you. What are some similarities and differences between playing in Mexico and then playing college here in the U.S.?
Oh, it's totally different. Differences is in the U.S., it's just more evolved,
Mm-hmm.
and it's more professional.
Okay.
You have trainers, you have, top of the art facilities, you have great coaches, you have everything just there for you to be a great athlete.
Mm-hmm.
So you have everything. Here, you have to find it.
Yeah.
You have, I was lucky enough to have great facilities and great coaches, but there's not that much competition.
Mm.
Because in the U.S., everything is done through associations,
Yep.
and it's just how it's done. Here, the association has this guy who's doing their own thing, and there's a million leagues out that are not federated that are still doing. There's not that much competition. So it makes a great deal when you can't find competition.
Yeah.
When you can't find right coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Culture is a great thing, especially in soccer here. Mexico is still pretty a macho, old school type of culture.
Okay.
So a lot of, especially moms, they don't want their kids playing soccer.
Mm-hmm. And
they don't want their kids playing sports. You see a lot of girls, they don't play sports. Not as they should be.
Right.
They have a boy, and the first thing they start doing is start finding soccer, baseball, football, whatever is cool for them. They have a girl, and they don't do that.
Mm.
The girl doesn't do that. And, it's changing that culture.
Yeah.
But sports in general, I find it more competitive there. The whole American culture is very competitive.
Yeah.
Very competitive.
It is.
It is. And here it's not that much, especially in girls.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make them competitive. You have to make them want it. And, when you don't have everything well organized, or just great facilities, it's a lot harder to do it.
Yeah.
So you have to just try to do your best, you have to do it because you want to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to work 3 or 4 times harder if you want to go to college there.
Absolutely. It's obvious that you still have a competitive spirit about you and that you're really passionate about sports. How have you used what you've learned in sports in your career path? So once you finished college, what did you do and how did you use sports?
Well, to me, I always tell people, and I probably shouldn't, I learned more in the sports than in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell everyone this. I'm like, I don't remember chemistry. I don't remember anything of that. I remember what I learned in the sports. First of all was I learned how to do teamwork.
Yeah.
Teamwork, very important in the workplace. Very important.
Yeah.
If you do not get along with your boss, if you don't know how to work with them, or if you have people working under you and you don't know how to be a great boss, you're going to have a hard time working.
Absolutely.
So teamwork was number one. Being passionate. And this comes again with choose your career path correctly.
Yeah.
Just do what makes you happy. Don't matter, don't think about money. Don't think about famous. Don't think about it's harder to do. Just be happy with it. And you'll be passionate. And usually a lot of athletes are passionate about what they do.
Yep.
So if you choose the right career path, you're going to do great. Just because you have that passion and you have that commitment and discipline to do it. Yeah. We talk about work, and what I did was after college I did my master's. And after that I started working events. So I did Pan American Games, Taekwondo Championships. And the hours there, I worked 9 in the morning till 4 in the morning, nonstop. So I was doing 16-hour shifts.
9 a.m. to 4 a.m.?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
For like 2, 3, 4 months. So, and you will work Saturdays, you work Sundays. So for people that like watching Rio, trust me, they are suffering now. People working in Rio now are not sleeping.
Yeah.
A lot of athletes don't see that part, but you work so much. But you have discipline. So it's okay. You don't quit. Yeah. And that comes from sport. You don't quit. It's 4 in the morning. You're still there because the team needs you.
Yeah.
Because you have to do what you have to do to get it done.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what it is. And that's a lot of sports, or just a lot of things I learned from sport that come to what I do. Now I coach, so obviously everything I learned from sports, I'm doing it or trying to do it.
Right.
But it was that. To me, it was passion. You're a great teamwork, which a lot of companies look for. Not a lot. Because when you're an athlete, you think everyone is good at teamworking, and that's not true.
No.
And all of my friends that did not do sports hate working in a team. Because it was unfair to them, because someone worked more, someone worked less. And when you're a team, you're like, but you're a team. On a team, someone's injured, someone's not running, but you run for them. You do what has to be done to achieve the goal. Doesn't matter who did less or more.
Yep.
You just have to. It has to get done.
You find a way to get it done. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just do whatever it has to, and it doesn't matter if you work harder or if you did more than that person, because at the end is the ultimate goal is what matters.
Yeah. It is.
So that a lot of discipline and competitive spirit, which is hard to find on girls sometimes. But being competitive just doesn't mean I'm going to do whatever it takes to take everyone down. It means I'm going to do whatever it takes to be better.
Right.
Competitive with myself. And work every day just to be a better person, professional, whatever you choose to do.
And those things are essential for a career and for life. Now, what are some challenges that you face as you've changed careers, and what are some mistakes that you've made as well that you've bounced back from?
Okay, mistake. Probably my biggest one was I did not stay in the U.S. the year after I graduated. And what was it a mistake? I already had a visa. I had permission. I could have stayed 1 year doing internships. But I came home and everything was so pretty and everyone was so nice. And you have your family here and you think, I'm just staying. And it was a mistake because you had an opportunity to be another year and learn something else. And one of the greatest challenges was the first was coming out of college, realizing you know nothing. And that your expectations versus reality are completely different things. And I don't want to just kill people's dreams, but when you come out of college and you're doing, I don't know, you're a lawyer or doing pre-law, you're watching Suits and you want to be that guy working in New York City. And you do, whatever, you're a doctor, pre-med, and you want to be Grey's Anatomy. That's not real. It's not how things work.
No.
And there's, so you have these expectations. You come out and you're like, oh, they're not going to hire me just because I'm nice. I don't have work experience. So just finding that whole thing was hard. I started working in a construction business.
Yeah.
And it was not my thing. I mean, we did soccer fields and we did baseball fields. So it was, but I'm not good at sales. And, I wasn't happy. You're not playing sports anymore like you used to, too. So that whole who I am, what I'm doing, where do I go from here? A lot of the girls I used to coach back in the day are not now graduating from college. And I actually talked to one of them 2 days ago. She just graduated. I'm like, what are you going to do? She's like, no idea. I have no idea. I'm like, it sucks, doesn't it? I'm like, all of your life, you're being told what to do. After elementary school, junior high, then high school, and then you go to college. But then after college, it's like, well, now what? I can work. I can go get married. I can do a master's degree. I have so many options, and nobody's telling me what to do.
Yeah.
And it's hard. So that's the greatest challenge. It was, where do I go from here? Especially, I went for business. Which is so broad, and you can do so much with it that I had no idea. I was like, I like marketing, but I didn't go to school for marketing. I like advertising, but I didn't go to school for that. I'm in business, and finance not so much, accounting not so much. I was throwing those away. I don't like numbers that much. But I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And it took me 2 years to realize what I wanted to do. It wasn't right away. I worked here, I worked there, I was okay. I mean, I'm not going to say I was unhappy and I was crying. I was fine. I was just coping with it.
Yeah.
But then it took a conversation with a friend that made me realize, this master's degree sounds pretty cool. I think this is what I'm going to do. And it was working in sports, not as an athlete, because I was done, but it was doing the whole thing in the back. So I went to a master's degree in sports administration in Madrid. So I lived in Madrid for a year. Yeah, not
awesome.
bad.
No.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. How did you find that program in Madrid?
The friend that I talked to him at a party. And he had just graduated from that master's degree. He played the same club I played in Puebla in soccer. He also played in the US, and then he went to Madrid. And he was telling me about it. It was the Real Madrid school. And he's telling me, I'm doing this. Now I'm living in New York City. I'm working at the MLS. This is how I did it. And he started telling me the program, and I was like, sounds really cool. Really, really cool. I think I want to do this. So talked to my parents because I didn't have any money to pay for my master's.
Right.
And I told my dad, I was like, I really want to do this. Can you pinch in? He looked at it and he was like, yep, last thing I'm going to pay for you, but it's worth it. So I was lucky enough that they helped me out, because they've helped me out at everything, college too. So I was lucky. I didn't have any loans.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't own any money after college, so it helped a lot. So I did my master's, and I focused on marketing and organizing sporting events.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did.
You know what's interesting is when you're a player, you don't think about everything that it takes to make an event happen until you step away from it. And then when you go through your program, or if you deal in the operation sides of sport, you see that it is a massive amount of people and coordination to just make one game happen.
It's crazy. You have no idea what it takes. I'm telling people, even when you see a stadium, Rio, London, whatever, every chair is there for a reason.
Yep.
And that's what operations do. We even put every chair what it has to be. Mm-hmm. Every water break, everything is there for a reason. And it takes so many people to organize things, especially when there's live TV. You have TV, you have award ceremony, you have everything going on, and it's a monster. You have average probably in one of my events, there was probably 300, 400, 500 people working in the event. Doing staff, volunteers, just everyone, federations, TV, and just everyone.
Yeah, that's a lot of people to coordinate and to put together. Some of the young women that I've talked to asked, how do you deal with conflict? So managing 300, 400 people, I'm sure there's conflict occasionally. How do you deal with that?
I'll be honest, I'm not that good at it.
Okay.
I try to listen. Listen is my number one. You can be, when you're in that kind of events, when there's a lot of pressure, because there's a lot of pressure going on. When I did Pan American Games, I used to have 3 cell phones and my radio, and they will all go at the same time. Because you have so much stuff, you have conflict, and you have everything that could go wrong goes wrong.
Right.
Just in the event. To me, it's listen. Mm-hmm. Listen to what they're saying, listen to what's going on, and then comprehend before reacting.
That's a really great point. No, that's a really great point, that listening and taking time to actually understand what the other person's saying before you jump in and be reactive.
Exactly.
It sounds like that's one of the skills that young women need to be able to be successful once they leave college. What other skills would you say are absolutely critical to their success?
Number one, I think listening, very important. I think just being more rational sometimes. Because as an athlete, you're very passionate.
Yep.
Very passionate. But that rational part, the whole take time, just see what options you have, and just slow down a little bit. Very important to slow down.
That is such great advice. And no one has said that out of 60 plus people I've interviewed, no one has mentioned how emotional athletes are, because you're in the moment so much and you're trained to react and respond. You're not trained to sit back and watch and evaluate because you don't have time to, right? Because
you don't have time to. And I always tell the girls I coach now, when you're playing soccer, if you make a mistake, you have 1-2 seconds to realize what you're going to do. Fix it and learn from it. But in life, it's not that bad.
Right.
When you're working, you have a little more time. Take it. Yeah. Take it. Analyze it. Analyze your options. Analyze what you're going to do. And to me, which also I will say, have a plan. Mm-hmm. Just have a plan. I had the opportunity to take a leadership class. I think it was last semester, and we talked about just having plans and have objectives, weekly objectives every time, and write it down.
Yeah.
Just make sure you know how you're going to get where you want to get.
Absolutely. Because
we do it as athletes. Yep. You know, if you want to get better, you go to the gym, you eat better. You know how to do it. And in life, it's just the same. You want a great this is my goal job or my goal whatever I want to do. How are you going to get there?
Yeah.
Make the plan and make your objectives. Number one, you can grade them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just say, I'm going to go to the gym. Or when you're an athlete, say, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week from this time to this time. If you want to do a job, you want to land a job, don't say, I'm going to send my resume away. No. Say, I'm going to interview with this company, this company, and this company. I'm going to send my resume to this person, and make it accountable if you didn't do it at the end of the week. Be accountable for what you want to do. Things just don't come. I mean, if you're lucky enough, maybe one thing will come, but you have to work for them. You have to be there, and you have to work on your objectives. So just be clear and slow down, and to me also, don't be frustrated. Yeah. Don't be frustrated. The whole thing, you have to fail 1,000,000 times for one yes, it's true. A lot of people will say no. And especially after college, you send your resume, 500, 600 times, and you get 600 no's. Yep. Your right job will come. Just keep doing it. If it doesn't come, try to analyze what you have to do to make it happen.
Yeah.
Maybe a career path. Maybe you have to go to school a little more. Maybe your resume is just not right for you. It's not understandable. Maybe they don't like your resume. Yeah. You're not wording it right. Sell yourself when you're looking for a job. So yeah, those kind of points I will say. But yeah, to me, it's just be rational. Conflict, listen, take it in, analyze it, and realize that you're not right all the time. Because it's very hard.
It is.
It's very hard for me. Because I like being right.
I think we all do. We all like being right.
I love being right. I hate being wrong. Competitive side again.
Right. Absolutely.
And you have to realize sometimes you're right. And probably advice is just make sure your priorities are straight. Mm-hmm. Check your priorities. So if it's family, if it's money, if it's happiness, it's not wrong, whatever it is. Yeah. We all have different priorities in life. Yeah. And they're not right or wrong. They're just yours. Mm-hmm. So work towards them. Whatever you want to do. If you want to be rich, work towards that. Be rich. Yeah. And your actions have to go just
your actions have
towards
to
that.
Right.
Yeah, have to follow that goal that you have, or that priority that you have. To me, was because I was doing events. Mm-hmm. That was good, I think. I mean, I did Pan American Games, and I did Taekwondo Championships. No idea. For people that want to get into sports in the back, you don't have to know every sport. I had no idea about Taekwondo when I went in there. You have to know how to operate, marketing, and just do different things. And you start learning about the sport as you go. I did Pan American Games, and I had rugby, water ski, mountain bike. I had no idea about those three. Yeah, they were fun. And you learn so much about each sport. Then I had the 13th Pan American Games, which is for people with disabilities.
Okay.
So I was managing old penny managers. So I had to learn a lot of adaptive sports. Yeah. Which was amazing.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely amazing.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was. And then I had Taekwondo for 2 years in a row when I did different events. And I decided to quit. Why? Because my priorities changed. Talking about priorities. I wanted to make a difference in people's lives. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to help my sport grow. Because I was like, I'm helping rugby and Taekwondo and water ski. And what about women's soccer? Yeah. So I wanted to get into that, and I wanted to coach. I found it very rewarding, very fun. Mm-hmm. So it changed. Priorities changed. Yeah. And, just make sure what you do goes with what you want to be in life. And it changes.
It does.
It's every 5 years, every year. I mean, I still want to be an architect once or twice. I think it'll be cool to be an architect or a doctor. It changes.
But that one thing that I thought when I was 21, 22, is that you have to pick one path and stay with that and ride that one out forever. And then as I've gotten older, like you said, you realize, oh, things change. I change. My interests change. You get exposed to something new and it makes you want to do something else.
Exactly.
And as you mentioned, you have to know that you don't know everything and that it's okay to learn something new and to mess up and change the course. As long as you're still doing something that aligns with who you are and it's part of your passion.
Exactly. It changed. You make mistakes.
Yep.
You make mistakes. You make your minor, your major.
Yeah.
Sometimes you mess up, or your job. Yeah. You decided to change your jobs. You thought it was going to be better, and it turns out it isn't. And you're thinking, oh my God, I had a great thing going on there.
Yeah.
And now I'm just,
that's a part of it.
I chose. It's part of life.
It is.
Sometimes you just make mistakes. That's it.
Marisa, what advice, as we close, would you have to your 22-year-old self? If you could talk to her, what would you tell her?
What would I tell? Oh my God, this is a good question.
I know it wasn't listed. This is a curveball.
It's a good question, though. What would I tell my? I would just say be happy. Don't worry too much. Mm-hmm. Because I realized a lot of things I worried when I was in college or high school, they have no importance in life.
They don't matter.
They're so stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just be happy.
Yeah.
Don't get into drama. Just don't worry so much. And you're in college, you skip a class and you think you're going to die. And you realize, oh my God, I could have skipped 10 or 20. Don't do it if you're in college. But
right, we're not saying you should skip classes.
No, but I'm saying don't worry about little things that don't matter. Just enjoy your time, especially if you're playing sports. Enjoy every single part of it. Enjoy the drills, the sprints, the 6 a.m. practices, which you probably hate. Just enjoy that whole thing because it's over after college. Mm-hmm. If you're lucky enough to go pro, you'll continue to enjoy it, but for most people, it's over.
Yeah.
So, but to me, it would be just be happy with your choices, with whatever, and don't be so critical of yourself and others.
Marisa,
don't be so critical.
That is such good advice. I just want to thank you again for being on the podcast and sharing your experiences. It is always great to chat with you, and thank you for offering to be a part of this book to help young women who are college athletes.
I'm happy to. Happy to. I'm always trying to do my little part to help.
Your experience internationally is going to be invaluable for players who are interested in going abroad and then players who are in other countries who want to come over here to the U.S. So I just appreciate it and look forward to working with you more in the future.
Me too. Thank you.
This is Athletes as Educators.
Thank you for listening to the Athletes as Educators podcast. Connect with me through the Athletes as Educators Facebook page or at Athletes Educate on Instagram. Be sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode, and go over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review. For more resources and information about today's podcast, you can check us out at AngelaRLewis.com.